Naira had always believed that families protect one another, but the silence inside her house had grown darker than any storm outside. After her father's death, she was the only one taking care of her old aunt, Samira Kala, who had nowhere else to go. Her cousins rarely visited, except when they needed money or favors. Naira worked 2 jobs, brought medicines, paid bills, yet never complained. She thought love was returned, but she didn't know people could pretend so well. One evening, Samira Kala fainted in the living room, and Naira rushed her to the hospital. While nurses moved her Kala towards the emergency room, Naira called her cousins to inform them. She hoped they would worry, maybe pray, maybe show up. But the first words she heard were cold, sharp, and unforgettable. When the cousins arrived, they didn't ask about their mother's condition. Instead, they pulled the doctor aside and whispered things they thought Naira couldn't hear. One of them said, "Just let her pass. We can't afford the surgery. She signed that paper last year, right? The DNR. Use it." Naira felt her heart crack. They wanted the doctors to stop treatment. They wanted to save money, even if it meant losing their own mother. They tried to convince the doctor that Samira Kala had signed the DNR willingly, but Naira knew the truth. The old woman had never fully understood what she was signing. The cousins were using her signature to escape responsibility. As she listened, she realized something darker. They wanted their mother gone quickly so they wouldn't have to divide the inheritance. They wanted everything for themselves. What they didn't know was that the hospital hallway echoed every word, and Naira stood right there, frozen but listening.
Naira stepped forward, her voice shaking with both anger and disbelief. She confronted the doctor gently, explaining everything her Kala had always said, how she wanted to live long enough to see Naira get married, how she never wanted machines to decide her fate. The doctor listened carefully, sensing fear and truth in Naira's trembling voice. Meanwhile, the cousins argued loudly, insisting money was more important. One of them even said, "It's just 30,000. She'll leave it behind anyway, and we all know she spoiled the girl." The words cut through Naira like a blade. The inheritance amount wasn't even that big, but their greed was so large that humanity had vanished from their hearts. The doctor made the decision to continue treatment based on Naira's statement and hospital ethics. Enraged, the cousins walked out, leaving their mother behind like she was a burden. In that moment, Naira decided she would not only save her Kala, she would save her from the people who pretended to be family. For days, Naira stayed by Samira Kala's side, talking to her, praying, feeding her soup, fixing her blanket, telling her everything was going to be okay. Slowly, the old woman began to wake up, recognizing Naira before she remembered her own children. When she was strong enough, Naira gently told her everything that happened, not to hurt her, but to protect her from future betrayals. Tears slipped down the old woman's face. She held Naira's hand and said, "You were the daughter my heart chose, not the one blood forced on me." When the cousins returned, demanding updates only to calculate how much they would gain or lose, Samira Kala shocked them. She asked the doctor for privacy, called the legal officer, and changed everything. She rewrote her will, removed their rights entirely, and appointed Naira as her legal caregiver. The cousins stayed silent, stunned by the consequences of their own cruelty. When Samira Kala returned home, she didn't go back to her children. She went with Naira, who treated her with the love she had never received from her own blood. Life became warm, peaceful, full of small joys, morning tea, evening walks, soft laughter, and stories shared under dim lights. The cousins tried to come back later, apologizing, pretending they cared, but Naira didn't stop them or fight them. She simply closed the door gently. Some doors are not meant to be reopened. Samira Kalla lived the rest of her days with dignity, cared for by the person who loved her without conditions. Naira never asked for money, property, or reward, but she received something greater: a mother's blessing, a lifetime of gratitude, and a story that proved not everyone tied by blood deserves to be called family. In the end, it wasn't revenge that won. It was truth, loyalty, and the daughter heart that refused to stay silent.